Hey, welcome back to Digital Dwell and Deal, where you're going to get strategies, tactics, and insights about how to master the housing market. And this is going to appeal to you whether you're a homeowner or somebody that's looking to purchase a home. Always 100% free, never anything to sell. But the only way that this channel grows is if you like and subscribe. So make sure to hit that below before we jump right into it. Now, today is more aligned with home buyers than it is homeowners. Look, the housing market is about to heat up in the worst way possible. You are running out of time. That's not a scare tactic. We are going to go back to the environment where homes are going to be overbid. Now, I'm going to explain to you why this is going to happen and why it previously happened back in 2020 and 2021. Now, if you rewind back to those stages, people would, if you ask them why are homes being overbid, they would have said, oh, it was because interest rates were so low. And that's a partial answer. The real answer is that the reason why the housing market was being so aggressively dominated and why people were overbidding on homes was because there was liquidity in the market. Now, what do I mean when I say that? If you rewind to that time, the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ were all at all-time highs back in 2020 and 2021 when rates went down to crazy low levels, right? So yeah, it had to do with low interest rates, but that in itself was not enough. You see, as rates dove down, equity prices drove up, so people had more money in their brokerage accounts, in their 401k accounts, right? People were sitting on liquidity and seeing green screaming across their portfolios. But you're going to probably realize and notice and remember that in 2022, that overbidding came to a stop almost overnight. And why did that happen? It's because when Fed started raising interest rates, that stock market got hit super aggressively and everything came down, and those that were seeing green in their portfolios were now seeing red, and so the liquidity dried up out of the market. But you see, this is the relationship that interest rates have to equity markets. When rates go down, equities go up, as do other asset classes like housing, commodities, all that stuff. But when they come down, all that stuff roars, right? So now we're in a cutting cycle with the Fed where they're starting to cut interest rates, right? When they're cutting interest rates, you're going to notice that today the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ are all considerably higher than they were in 2021. The green is back in the portfolios. The liquidity has returned. And so if you know that this is happening, what you know is that as Fed continues to lower rates, markets will continue to scream up and more people will have access to more cash. And by the way, there's people that are struggling right now where they have lots of cash, but they don't own a home. Well, guess what? They want to own a home too. And in a very short amount of time, we are going to see equity markets roar, and then people get very excited about buying a house again because they have the cash to spend. Not only will they get excited about a house to buy, but the fact of the matter is that they will be doing that into an environment that simply doesn't have enough supply. Now, we know that there's a housing crisis around the nation. If you're in California, we are experiencing it even more so over here. And the fact of the matter is that you don't want to wait and get caught on the other side of that, right? So as rates come down, some people are waiting, hey, if rates come down, I'll have a cheaper mortgage, housing will be more affordable. Totally true, but what happens when the price goes up, right? A lot of times, like for example, if you have a house, $800,000, and then the housing market starts heating up and that thing sells for $840, it doesn't matter if you have an interest rate that's 0.5% lower, because your payment is still going to be higher because you have a higher purchase price and likely a higher loan amount, right? And so waiting right now is just not the game. You're going to pay the price aggressively. This is kind of the warning shot for you, because if you don't jump out and get ahead of it, you're going to get caught on the wrong side of it. And then you're going to be in the same environment that people were in back in 2021, where they had to make offers on 7, 8, 9, 10 homes just to get one under contract. And even then, they had to ask, they had to offer over list price and really make some serious concessions here that, in a normalized housing market that you definitely wouldn't make, right? And so that overbidding is going to happen. Now, when you understand the liquidity issue, you start to understand why it is that the housing market's going to heat up. Like your Uncle Tom, who's saying the housing market's going to crash, simply is wrong. It's not going to crash. It's only going to go up from here in the short term. At some point, you'll see a correction. In fact, we saw one pretty recently, right? Home prices and values have come down a little bit because rates were so high, because buyers were coming off the fence, going on the fence, I should say, right? They're about to come off the fence. In fact, we're having more conversations now about people wanting to purchase homes than we have in the last 6 months. So already the market's a little bit exhausted and fatigued of having to wait to be able to enter home ownership. So while you're in this environment right now, it may seem like the prudent and wise decision to wait and see how things play out. But I'm telling you, market, when as rates come down, you are going to see havoc in the housing market. Now, you want to couple this with what's happening in spring and summer, right? Every spring and summer in the real estate market, we see demand increase. And so organically, regardless of where rates are at, when it comes springtime, when it comes summertime, people start transacting more on homes. Why? Because kids are out of school, right? So families are able to actually move. It's a little easier to do it during that time of year than it is maybe during the fall when they just started going to school. And so this plays a huge, huge role. This is why you see so many transactions for housing consolidate and get put into that season, the spring and the summer. That is where you end up seeing the most activity for real estate around the nation. And so that's on the horizon, right? We're in January right now. Guess what? You're going to blink and we're going to be at May. Then when we're at May, this is going to 100% be unfolding. And so what I'm trying to tell you is right now is a time to get ahead of that problem. Just a handful of months earlier than maybe you were hoping for. And even though rates are a little higher right now, and yeah, they have come down a bit, but the fact of the matter is at some point when they come lower, you're going to have two problems that you're going to be dealing with potentially, right? One or the other. Either one, you will have not purchased a home, and then you're going to be dealing with a hyper-competitive real estate market again. Or two, you will have purchased a home, and when rates fall, you'll be talking about refinancing your mortgage and making your payment more affordable. This is 100% coming down the pipe. Want to make sure that you know about it. Look, if you ever have any questions about the direction of the market or what's going to happen, feel free to reach out. You can comment below. You can message me directly. But I'm sounding the alarm right now. This might be your last chance to buy a home. If you're somebody that's been stuck renting, take advantage before the time disappears. I appreciate you following and joining along. Today's short, sweet, ready to roll. But hey, look, I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next one. And again, don't forget to like and subscribe.